Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel, Coffee Tea Paper. My name's Louise and today we're looking at the next journaling book that I want to share with you. It is quite different to the ones that I've done so far in the series. This one is a very hefty tome. As you can see, it's got a lot of pages. It's quite big. I might have to move it up and down to get it in the frame. And I should say first up that for me this is a bit of an aspirational book. It's not something that I have yet to do any of the exercises out of or anything like that. It's really just something that I love to look at with the idea that one day, one day when I have the time, I'm going to do a deep dive into it. So it is, of course, the Laws Guide to Nature Drawing and Journaling, written and illustrated by John Muir Laws. I think that is the correct pronunciation. And we'll first of all have a little bit of a look at who the author is. So the author is award-winning naturalist, educator and artist John Muir Laws, also known as Jack. He passionately loves nature and celebrates life with curiosity, creativity and humour. His sketches are informed by careful observation, extensive field experience and lots of practice. Jack's connection with nature began with explorations when he was a child, a regular part of family trips. His love of the outdoors and confidence in the wild grew through participation in scouting. His mum gave him a sketchbook to record his discoveries in, and the world of nature journaling opened up. With the encouragement of his grandmother, he drew constantly, and his abilities to observe and to draw grew. Together, Jack has taught nature and science education since 1983. He loves teaching and sharing inspiration with others and gives classes, lectures and field courses and consults with individuals and organizations. Near his home in the San Francisco Bay Area, he leads the Nature Journal Club, offering free monthly workshops and field trips to a vibrant community of artists, explorers, naturalists, and poets. He is a Research and Education Associate of the California Academy of Sciences and a Together Green Conservation Leadership Fellow of the Natural Audubon Society. He was selected as the artist for International Migratory Bird Day in 2011 and was named one of Bay Nature's 2020 Local Heroes. And he has a number of other books and is a regular contributor to Bay Nature magazine with his Naturalist's Notebook column. And he also has a website. So I can hear you saying, yes, but this is obviously about nature drawing and nature journaling. And yes, that's true. But a lot of the things that he covers in here is also applicable to journaling in general. And we'll just jump in here. So the first sort of section that we'll have a look here is where he talks about why keep a nature journal. And although he says nature journal, you could often just cross out the nature bit and really think, well, why keep a journal? He says, think how often you have said to yourself, I'll never forget this moment. Sometimes the moments stick, but although it can be hard to admit, we forget many experiences and ideas that were once meaningful to us. It is possible to skip through this life with only dim memories of even our most major life events. In every instant, we consciously process only a fraction of the data we get from our senses, and we remember only a tiny piece of that. But the process of journaling is enough to burn a moment into your memory. Those of you who have kept a journal while traveling are familiar with this idea. But you don't need to be traveling to choose the memories you want to keep and record them in a journal. Every day you can fill your mind with wonder and fill your journal with a record of the beauty you have experienced. The process will build strength, resilience, equanimity, and gratitude. So that's just sort of one paragraph from this book, and I think that sort of sums up a lot of my ideas and hopes for why I keep journals as well. Because it's such a massive book, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, so I've just kind of sectioned off bits that I think are particularly of interest or particularly relevant, just from a journaling perspective. We've jumped quite a bit. He talks about having a journal to create a focused awareness. It says here there is so much you could do in your journal that it's hard to know where to start. And that's true. Sometimes that blank page can be so overwhelming, or you see so many beautiful creations on Instagram and Pinterest and so forth, and you think, oh gosh, well, I'd like something like that. But it can be overwhelming. But he says here, writing and drawing in your journal improve your ability to observe, process, and remember your thoughts and experiences. So you don't actually even have to do anything else if you are starting a journal, but simply write. In time, we all forget what we have seen, or we modify our memories. Anything observed but not put down on paper is lost. He says lost to science because he's referring about keeping a field guide, but it's lost. And if you record these experiences in a journal, your ideas, your discoveries will stay with you both physically and mentally. He says if you limit your focus when you journal, you will not feel overwhelmed by how or where to begin. And asking and following questions is one place to begin your experience. And so I think that's very relevant just to the idea of journaling in general. The trick is finding that question that you want to answer in your journals. So I'm just going to jump ahead again because there's a whole lot about different techniques for nature journaling and data and observation and recording and so forth, which is very valuable, but we're just doing a very broad journaling perspective overview. He has a whole chapter here on materials, your journaling kit and materials, which I find fascinating. And he does a little snapshot of 3 types of journal keepers: the minimalist, the coloured pencil kit, and the watercolourist. And he has a bit more in depth here about different levels of kit, I guess. If you're journaling at home, and a lot of us do, of course, the sky's the limit. You can, or your wallet is the limit, I guess. You can have everything and anything at your disposal. But nature journaling, like travel journaling, or if you want to have a journal to take with you, even if it's just to work, you really need to be mindful about what equipment you are taking with you. So he gives some very specific examples which have different uses for different styles of journaling. He has a whole recommendation of pencils for different purposes, pens for different purposes, coloured pencil add-ons, watercolour add-ons, and he goes really into a lot of depth about coloured pencils, watercolour pencils, shadow pencils, organising your pencils, and he does name some brands as well, and he gets into a lot of detail about picking the right journal, but I do like his first sentence, which is, "This is a personal choice," and his last sentence, which is, "Find the one that is right for you." So picking out the right journal is a personal choice. Find the one that is right for you. But he talks about size, paper quality, the binding, and some to consider. If you want to bring colour into your journals, he talks about watercolour and he brings in specific colour recommendations. He does mention Winsor and Newton pocket box, but he also talks about making your own palette and gives some examples for that, and travel watercolor palette, a gouache palette, and he does give a very good explanation of all these different colors and what might work well together and what should be avoided. For example, he says some colors fade more than others and should be avoided for that reason. So I find this just fascinating and really handy. I know not everybody likes to be so prescriptive. They prefer to explore these things for themselves, but I'm quite happy if someone else has spent the time and their money working out what is good. I'm quite happy to learn from their mistakes. Then we'll just jump ahead because he then gets into media specific techniques, and he says you do not need to master every type of drawing medium. Now, that's very true, but the beauty of this book is that pretty much from this section on is all about tutorials working through all different types of mediums and media, so you can sort of work out what your preference is. Or if you already have a preference, he has some tutorials to work through. This one is graphite, water-soluble pens, markers, ballpoint pen, toned paper, coloured pencil techniques. There's quite a lot of coloured pencils. And then he starts having these really lovely tutorials as well. So we'll jump ahead again because there's just masses in here. For example, this is a entire step-by-step tutorial on cone-shaped flowers, and it's just so thorough. So it will take a very long time to, if you want to complete this book page by page and tutorial by tutorial, but it's really nice to have it in your collection because you can then go, right, oh well, I really would like to include a flower drawing or a bird drawing or something like that, and you can go and follow a bit of a tutorial and get an idea of, you know, what you're doing. This I like in particular. He doesn't just focus on animals, birds, insects, flowers, those sorts of things. He also looks at landscapes, and I'm particularly interested in this chapter for travel journaling. And one of the things that I really like in this book is this landscapitos, which sounds very exotic. I'm not sure if this is a word that he has made up himself, but I think it's very cute and very approachable. And it's about, instead of sketching a big landscape, focus on what interests you in a little study. These thumbnail landscapes are fast, fun, and a powerful way to remember a place. And yes, incredibly simple. Um, he he says, you know, we've seen many large format landscape paintings, and we assume that bigger is better. With most drawings, larger is better, but the landscape before us is vast, so we turn our journal sideways and we draw until we run out of paper, and this has consequences. Filling the whole page takes time. Your friends will be ready, and your tail, I think he means bottom, will get sore sitting on a rock. You'll get sick of drawing trees. And the solution is to make landscapitos, little thumbnail landscapes, not as a study, but as a goal in itself. So, and he says that they're fun and less threatening than large landscapes, and it's true. I mean, look at these; they look so evocative of where he's been, but there's really not much to them at all, and I feel that they're quite approachable. I look at that and think, I might have a chance of actually doing something like that. Then he just has some variations on those themes, and then he does get into a lot more detail, you know, faces of rocks and things. So you can really go from very, he's got some really basic techniques in here to some quite sophisticated ones as well. So it's a book that you can grow along with. And then I thought I would just leave you with this final thought that he has finished his book with, because once again, it's applicable to journaling in general, I feel. And he says, journaling is an invitation to dive into the world and rediscover beauty and awe, a way to turn sustained, compassionate attention toward seemingly everyday moments and find reason to celebrate and give thanks. There is endless intrigue, wonder, and mystery available in every aspect, and I would actually say of the world here. Fill the pages of a journal with drawings, notes, observations, and you will reliably fill your life with beauty and curiosity. And then he just talks a bit about the book, but he says what you have to do is make journaling a part of your life. And then he says, this is your life. What are you going to do about it? And there's a brilliant quote here. How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. It's a very schmick ending to the book. And I think there's actually another good quote. Yeah, this is quite a funny one as well. Stuff your eyes with wonder. Live as if you drop dead in 10 seconds. See the world. It's more fantastic than any dream made or paid for in factories. To me, that kind of sums up traveling, and one of the reasons why I enjoy travel journaling. So, as you can see, I've had to keep it very top level rather than doing a deep dive, because it is such a in-depth book. It's got so much in there, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy to have this particular one in my collection. So the next one I will be looking at is something different again. But I'm not going to give any hints this time. I might even try, because I'm doing my series of prompts this year, each week about look up, look in, 52 meditations on nature. I might even try to, if it's relevant, work my way through one of the tutorials in this book that maybe we can do together. Yeah, we'll see. It's just, yeah, it's just such an amazing body of work that he has put into this beautiful book. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed having a look through this book. Let me know if this is one that you have in your collection or one that you're keen to add. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!